everyone. Thanks so much for joining us in the first podcast of the new year. And talking about the new year, our last podcast, we talked about having intentions instead of resolutions as something that might help us. And Ramie, how are your intentions coming?
They're good. I do reflect on them daily. It's only been, 2 days, but yeah, but they feel good. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So that's it. They feel uh brand new because it's a new year, but then again, I sometimes look and think oh, these are my same intentions, kind of oh, well,
Mhm.
that's not so new, but I'm focusing on them. Maybe that's new. Yeah. And I'm going to see where it takes me. Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, if I had resolutions, I don't think I'd even honor them today because they don't feel real, just in one day. Whoops. All right. Never mind. Yeah, I'm focusing on, paying attention to my intentions. Yeah.
Very good.
I've been listening, I think I've told you guys a lot to Abraham Hicks on YouTube is where I listen to them. And um, they talk a lot about feelings and feeling your way into manifestations and different things. So I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready that I've done New Year's resolutions, the exercise and the this and the that and the eating better and all these different things. And then I switched over to words like theme words like integrity or discipline or, all these different things and focusing on words. And I thought, gosh, I was just thinking like, what if and I might actually post this on my social media, like, how do you want to feel this year?
Mm.
What feelings do you want to feel this year? Because sometimes when you make New Year's resolutions, they don't feel that good, you know? So it's just a different way for me to think of things. Like, I want to feel excited and I want to feel passionate, So if you lead with how you want to feel, then maybe it will automatically take you to the activities and people and things that are supposed to happen. At least that's what I'm feeling.
I think
So,
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Last week we had talked about having a lot of resistance to the word resolutions, and and that's exactly what you're talking about. Try to avoid the resistance by focusing on the positive instead.
how you do want to feel. Yeah, it's just again, it's a different perspective, and it's a lot of for a lot of people who are used to feeling the negative all the time, or even if you're thinking, and this is what I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, even if you're thinking of like, I want this job, or I want this house, or I want this spouse, you're thinking of all the negative things, like you're thinking about you don't have that yet, right? And
Hmm.
so it's still kind of that negative, like, well, you do want that, but you don't have it yet. And so you're always thinking, I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. And the feelings that come with that, the sadness or the disappointment or all those things. And so to me, it's really like going back to being a child and like imagining and having, daydreams or, just, and that's what you're encouraged to do is to throughout the day, just meditate, right? And kind of feel how it feels to have those things, Oh, it feels amazing to have the money that I need. Don't have to, worry anymore. It feels amazing to have the health, to be healthy, to be able to travel. Oh, just all those things. So just taking time out during the day and taking a deep breath and just feeling those feelings of having, of help, however you want to feel, because you have the things that you desire. Anyway.
Yeah, that's great. And another thing that can really help too is your choice of words. Words words speak things into existence, right? They're very, very powerful. So I was just listening to you talk, right? The word need is
Mm.
shows that you feel that you lack, right?
Yep.
So you could
Yep.
change, we can change our words from need in, and want would be the kind of, depending on your attitude of saying want, right? But
Right.
picturing it as if you already have it, right? So that
Okay.
that picture in your mind is, for how you feel when you already have it.
Yeah.
And then you just stay open to what what form the universe brings that to you in. But so the word need could be, I don't know, we'll have to think about that. I mean, I have before, but now I'm kind of drawn blank. So I
Yeah.
have it, or I
I
look
have it.
um
Yeah,
yeah, I have it, yeah, or
I have it.
I am receiving, or what I do, say, like on our budget, right? Our monthly budget. I don't use the word budget because to me that makes me feel resistance inside of, oh, I don't have enough money. I have to squeeze it into all these different categories or something. So I don't use the word budget at all anymore. I use it's our purchase plan. And then our savings
Love
account
that.
isn't savings because savings restricts the flow of money, right? So it's my future purchase account because then I'm
Love it.
going to be spending it. I'm setting that money in that account for the things I choose to spend it on in the future, right? And and even the bills, say bills that you have to pay or you need to pay to keep your gas coming into your house or whatever. Well, you're choosing to pay them. There is an option, but it's not a good
Hmm.
option. But you're choosing it because you're thankful to have the gas in your home, right? So it's just a matter of mindset for saying, for the words we choose, right? It
Yeah. That's beautiful.
reflects our mindset.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
the same thing, or I have to do this, or the chores for me, the chores you have to do, or different things. You have a whole lineup of them, right? Then it's like, but it's no, I get to,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
or I'm choosing to, or I am willing to do this because
Hmm.
the result is good. So again, it's just tweaking the word tweaks your mindset about it.
Yeah, and the energy around it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. And and I know we've talked about this before, Carla, but um, again, those getting those feelings and those things that you want, and writing things down. So this could be New Year's type stuff, but you know um, uh, something I have is like, I'm so thankful and grateful, and I think that's a Bob Proctor thing. I don't know where he got it, but um, I'm so thankful and grateful. And then I put a date, usually like it's April 2024, and I have enough money to cover my bills or whatever it is. I'm not in nursing anymore. I'm doing the things I believe in. I'm helping people get healthy through their gut health, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's putting that, like Ramie said, in the present tense, but you can also put a date to it too, um, speaking as if it is that time, and then the things, not what you don't want, like um, I don't have to worry about blah 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 anymore, but just what you do want. So I'm so thankful and
Mhm.
grateful that it's May 2024, and all these beautiful things, and get into that feeling of actually having it. That's the
Yeah.
key.
And I've done a thing, it was an exercise, in some webinar or group that I was part of that said it, and you like write your desire or that picture in your mind, write it on a piece of paper and then set that aside, like, and don't look at it for 6 months. So it's kind of like a 6-month intention. and it's there, and then get it out in 6 months and see where you've come since then. So like a year ago, I think I must have started that like in April or something, or so I got, or the 6 months before that. So I got it out last April and I wasn't there. So I put it back in the drawer, and in 6 months, nope, wasn't there yet. But when I get it out this April, I'm gonna I will have made progress in it. So anyway, I don't know. It's again intention, right? It's a way to
Yep.
lock in intentions. Crystals can do that too, like tiger's eye crystal.
Mm.
It's said to, like, if you hold it in your hands and you can lock with your thoughts, lock in that intention, and it will hold it for you. Um, I do that. I use that in my biofield work. I hold the intention that we listen to our spirit, um, and as the basis of, and trusting that, of listening to and following the spirit, because all resistance comes from not doing that, right? Listening and trusting to your inner self, right? And so I keep tiger's eye as one of the crystals on my biofield hologram that I use on
Okay.
every session.
Yeah.
So it's not just for me, it's working, holding that intention, for holding that space, right, for everybody to listen to their heart,
Hmm.
their spirit's intentions.
I had some tiger's eye, but I gifted it to someone.
Each of those words, money and wealth and abundance, they each have slightly different vibrations, slightly different meanings of what the aspect is. And like money especially, yes, like you said, is very loaded, because we inherit a lot of that resistance to money from our ancestors. We learn it from our parents, right? We experience it in different ways with different words that are said, like, I don't have enough money, or, we need more money. You hear that all the time in different
All the
ways.
time.
And
Yeah.
I remember so markedly, when I was young, we had gone on a family vacation, and um, Dad didn't seem to worry about money, at least from my perspective at
Mhm.
that age. And he had grown up having nothing, basically, and had always live, right? Not having, so I don't know. He had a different perspective. Whereas my mother, not that they were rich or wealth, what the world might consider wealthy, but she always had enough. And she was the one that was much more concerned. I remember her checking her billfold and counting the money in it and stuff at between different stops along the road, or something different each day, maybe, to be sure, because they needed enough cash to get home, right? So, it was a way of, it wasn't a bad thing, but in my mind, it was worry, right? That's how I perceived it, as her worry about money. We get that in very many ways, right? Or like for me, I had found out um, that I had had a 3-year-old trauma, and that involved money, right? Because a man had touched me inappropriately and then gave me money, and told me to be, to don't talk about it or I'd be a bad girl, right? And so that influenced my um, perception of money from a very young age, in addition to, the other aspects. So of learning it from my parents or from other, inheriting that resistance pertaining to money.
Yeah.
Um,
It's quite an interesting thing, because it's something that I think whether you are poor or rich, you probably think about it several times throughout the day. And so it's a challenging thing to kind of, and I'm watching my words, Carla, but try to get a hold of, because, we are unconscious of how many times, or at least I am, I'm trying to be more conscious of how much I think about it throughout the day. But, you get busy and things happen. And I checked my bank account and my purse a couple times yesterday and was arranging my dollar bills and, doing all that. So,
Well,
yeah,
but
it's interesting.
but what you can do if you are looking at your bills or have to count them, then have the awareness, like um, instead of the worry of oh, I got to be sure and keep them in here, I don't have enough, then it's more like, oh, I love money, it just feels so good to have it in my hand, it feels so
Yes.
good, I just love it, and kind of touch it and float it and feel good about it, and that helps a lot, and it does feel good. I mean, I've done that. And for me, Ramie could speak to this as well. I because I'm sure you've done hypnosis sessions to help people with money. I haven't done one with you with that, but I found a recorded set of hypnosis sessions that pertain to our mindset of abundance and money, and huge. It had the instructions were to listen to each one, like the first one for 21 days to make it a habit, and then start the second one and listen to it once or twice a day for 21 days. And by the time you go to 6 or 7 of them, right, then it was like 4 months about from when we started to my husband was doing it with me to we each listened to him twice a day for um, 21 days for 6 or 7 of them, however many. By the end of that time, our mindset was different. It was,
Wow.
and we've continued to add different meditation or different hypnosis recordings that we had found pertaining to money or other things in our lives. And over the course of a year, it's made a tremendous difference in my mindset, to the extent that instead of worry, they talk about, you might hear on the news or whatever of the economy now and what they expect for the rest of the year or the next 2 years. And it's like that could be very alarming to many people. And it's like, we are so excited about the new year and looking forward to, we don't know how the universe will bring things. We don't know, but we're going to follow our hearts. We're going to follow where our spirit's intentions lead, and the universe will bring. And we're excited to, yeah, we're excited to see what will come. And that's huge compared to a year ago. Our mindset change is huge, right? And before doing the hypnosis, there had been several other um, exercises type things we had done from different people and that were around that helped. Each one helps. If you can look into your um, upbringing or your childhood and see where some of those thought patterns come from, to look inside and feel the resistance that you feel at different times at different concerns about money or wealth or whatever. And they had all helped. And then we did the hypnosis recordings for those. And wow, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, the change we feel in our hearts and minds, right? It seemed to um, make a big difference to doing each one. That 21 days each one, kind of to lock it in.
Yeah.
It's powerful. Yeah, I had grown up with thinking of hypnosis as woo woo, basically, right?
Same.
Or
Same.
you've seen it on TV, and and logically so, the people that work in the media, or not the individuals, but the powerful people that steer things in through the media and stuff, would have been aware of the power of hypnosis, right? And so it's automatically then portrayed as a bunch of silliness or of making you, where you'd see the psychotherapist making people do things that were ridiculous or silly, when they were under a trance. And so that's where it comes from. And so no one I knew had ever done hypnosis up until, and I hadn't done it until just a very few years ago when I wanted to delve into, I had learned about my trauma that I spoke about, the 3-year-old trauma, I call it, through a biofield session, and had found it had been there in the record of my life in my biofield, as a memory and those feelings, but I didn't know what happened. I didn't. The practitioner had said, "You're feeling terror," and I had no clue. It was something I had just totally blacked out, right, or blocked out, I should say. But inquiring minds want to know, and I had to know, and not that I probably recommend to people to have to go back into all those details of everything, because I know my husband had told me, I think it really set you back in your forward growth, in your healing, by going into detail in all those aspects. Um, but I personally had to, because that's who I am. I had to know, right?
Yeah.
And so overall, it increased my healing and my but there's ways you can do it without having to go into all those details that were very painful for you. And I'm sure Ramie could tell you about that. But anyway, so my first hypnosis was with a client, a biofield client at the time, and so we traded sessions, and I and it was beautiful, and I found out, well, my my awareness of everything going on around me still stays there, even though I'm in hypnosis and in that trance where I'm in connection with my inner self and uh, the oneness, as I call it. That's what I use hypnosis for now. And it's like, but I still have the awareness of sounds in the house and what's going on around me. And I can stop at any time and talk at any time about other stuff. And it wasn't scary at all. It was just something that was beautiful and imaginative. And I learned all these details that I would never have dreamed of concerning that trauma. Yeah. And I went back a second and a third time because I had to know certain aspects, right? Like one was the money. I had to know, did he? Because I was trying to heal my perspective about money. And so I wanted to know, did he give me money, right? And it was amazing what I could just barely see the coin out from the tip of his fingers. So it had to be a dime, probably, right? Enough to buy some candy at that time in the early 60s, right? And yeah, money's a big subject. Jessica, you'd said you also had something else that thought about talking today about with us, and I didn't know
It was the
if
feelings. Yep, that was on my mind. Trying to do more of that this year.
yeah. So I guess then I'll go on to things we inherit from our ancestors, not just eye color and skin color and things like that, but we inherit resistance or emotions, and it's not just in the ancestral biofield either. In our biofield, there's energy. It's called the Ancestral River. That's the name of my business, and the name of my book were named after that stream of energy that contains ancestral DNA. But I received a biofield session yesterday, which was um, extreme. I'd say most people would not likely feel things like I did. I'm very sensitive to energy is one thing, and I'm very connected, have learned to be connected with the ancestors as far as communication with them was something that I found that was a gift. I see it as a gift. And most people that would receive biofield sessions, a lot of people feel nothing really. It's pleasant and you feel lighter and happier and relaxed afterwards. Or some people would feel more energy because your voltage is higher. And but because I'm very sensitive and tuned in and trying to actively heal my um, for my ancestors and myself and my children, then anyway, I was receiving this, and my intention was just to help me listen to my spirit more, or listen inside, right, to the inner self, and then to um, hear that and respond, to live that way instead of um, pushing, right, that resistance to things. And so it started immediately. The practitioner hadn't even like hardly struck the fork, and this energy started moving in me. And after a few times, I realized it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine at all. It it was an ancestor. I had met her before in a biofield session. A practitioner months earlier had said something about, oh, this energy is from an ancestor. It's like she was a white witch in a magical forest or something. That's what the practitioner had told me. And then, so with Ramie, I had included that as one of our questions in one of our hypnosis times together. And I had asked to meet this ancestor in the oneness and found out that she wasn't in the oneness yet. But yes, she had been a white witch. And really, that word is just meaning at that time, she was like me today in many ways, working with energy, right? The energy of plants, the energy of people, the energy around you, things like that, and ways to tap into that energy. Like we still have water witching today because they use plant energy to find where the water is under the ground. In this biofield session yesterday that I was receiving, I could tell right away. It was like all of a sudden I knew it was this lady, and she was ready to transition to the oneness. Whereas a couple months earlier during that hypnosis session, she said she was too angry because of things that had happened when she was alive, yet she got too angry and had all that. And at that time in hypnosis, she had told me that she was staying there because she could help people. And I said, well, yeah, but you can help people a lot more from the oneness. Once you're full of that positive energy, you can help people a lot more. And it was then that she had said she was just so full of anger that she couldn't go yet. And so yesterday in this session, she was ready to transition. And so I knowing from before, from that hypnosis session, that she was so full of anger, I said, well, I'll do anything I can that will help you. But I mean, it racked my body. I was even screaming out loud as if it was her speaking through me about what she was angry about. And then it calmed, and she was explaining that she was trying to help people after this occurred. There used to be giant trees on the earth, right, that were um, wonderful. They pulled up energy out of the from the ground, or perhaps it was in their roots, and broadcast this energy, and it acted like a daily biofield tuning for everybody that would have the mindset of knowing about it and wanting that, receive that. So it kept all those old stories from building up so that you wouldn't so much establish all those old patterns, and your mindset would still be able of that to listen to your spirit much more and live that way day to day calmly instead of reacting to so many things, right? And she said after she was there when the trees were cut down, and afterwards she was so angry, but the tree from the trees, as that witch or the energy worker, she had learned about the energy of the trees and learned how to use it and work with it. And so she was trying to help people to do what the trees had provided. And she said she couldn't. She wasn't enough because not just that the trees were gone, but because they were gone, people no longer remembered. And so they didn't have the intention to receive it and couldn't be held, basically. And so her intense anger changed to love and forgiveness. And she was able to clear that energy and transition, but it was in my body, right? So it was behind my heart and from my heart, and I could feel it. And after she cleared, I was asking her, well, I really want your knowledge of the part of your knowledge that I can use in my future, that you know what I'll need. And so please leave me with the wisdom and knowledge that you have that I need. And she did. It poured into my third eye and through my body. And I don't know yet what it is, but I know it's about the plant energy. Because this yesterday, the same immediately I learned in conversation about a source of plant energy, and was someone sent me that link, and I was started learning about that, something I didn't know. And so that's how the universe works. And
There you go.
um, it's wonderful as we all work on clearing ourselves, right? Um, and clearing our lives clears our ancestors and our children. And it's worth the pain, right? It's worth the daily struggle, the daily intention setting to hold that, to change our lives, right? Bring change into our mindset and our lives. So thank you all for your continual daily change, and that we can meet together here to talk. And I give thanks to all of you who listen, who are on your own journeys, and just hold space for you also to make the progress and the change that you desire. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk again next week, right?